If you can wake up every day and feel good about what you're doing that day, and if you made a slight difference in somebody else's world, you know, that just keeps you the fuel for the next day. Welcome back to Frederick Advice Givers, episode 188. I am Eric Verdi. Today I have with me Aileen Solomon with the Healing Room of Frederick, right?
Yes.
I am so thankful to have her on today. We have a couple mutual friends. One's a really good friend of both of ours. I've been trying to get you on here for, what, about 6 months, 8 months? Yeah, we couldn't get our schedules to match, so thank you for joining us. Episode 188. So tell us about yourself. Where'd you grow up? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Your backstory.
Eric, thank you so much for this awesome opportunity. I'm so excited to be doing this with you today. I came to Frederick about 13 years ago. Okay. I really set the bar low, to be honest with you. I thought it was just gonna be cornfields, farmland, nothing to do, but I knew I could get more bang for my buck. Right. I was living in Montgomery County and I wanted to purchase a home. And I love Frederick. 13 years later, I lied to you not. The first 3 months, I don't think I waited in any lines. Right. People were so friendly. There's so much to do here. I've been truly, truly blessed to be here. I didn't always appreciate Maryland. Mm-hmm. You know how it is when you grow up in a place, you totally take it for granted. Yep. So I grew up in Maryland all my life. I've just steadily been moving north. I was in Tacoma Park and I was in Silver Spring and so forth. And I did a voyage, actually, when I was in college. It was called Semester at Sea. I went to the University of Pittsburgh. And it's literally a cruise ship converted into a university. So 500 college kids, yes, apply to be on this ship internationally. Their professors apply to be on this ship. And you literally sail around the world for 4 months, 10 countries, 3 continents. Prior to that voyage, like most college students, I thought I was broke. I didn't have any money. My walk with God wasn't very close. Okay. During that trip, I was so humbled by the beauty of people, by the beauty of the world, that as soon as I got back to Pitt, I went to the student bookstore, got the easiest translation of the Bible I could find, and gave myself a year to read the Bible. And I've just been on fire for God ever since. That voyage really placed in me a desire to work with people in developing countries. I wanted to be Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman in the bush with my khakis, my boots, my hat. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. There was a long journey there, but I have peace about that. But it's ironic where God has me today with healing rooms. My heart's desire was always to get into business, but I got really bad advice that I would starve if I did business administration. Right. So I went this whole other route, pursuing medical school. I just literally hung up that dream maybe 8 years ago. Like I was really pursuing that, got a graduate degree, just worked. From medical school? I wanted to go to medical school and I wanted to make myself more competitive. And so I put that to the side, and right now my background is in quality assurance. I am a federal contractor, like everyone in the DMV area. Everyone does federal contract work, and I work with a really neat program called the MC4 program, Medical Communications for Combat Casualty Care. So whenever a soldier should get hurt in Afghanistan or something along those lines, all of that medical information is uploaded into our system and becomes a lifelong medical record. Back in '99, Congress mandated that the Army come up with this system because paper records were not effective. Okay. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my team. I work with millennials, well, 2 millennials, and they're amazing. My heart's desire is to ultimately be in business for myself. Okay. But what really drives me, this may sound cheesy or corny, but I breathe encouragement to people. I love to encourage people. And sometimes I spread myself too thin because I'm leading a couple of organizations. Sometimes my needs will go to the side if other people need help. So I love volunteering. I'm also the president of the Fort Detrick's Toastmasters Club. Okay. We've been around for about 13 years or so. I had a terrible fear of public speaking. Legs would shake, stomach would be in knots.
I hear you, girlfriend.
But a friend of mine told me, courage is not the absence of fear, it's not bowing to it. And Toastmasters has also been an awesome platform for me through competitions, impromptu competitions, where you find out your subject on stage.
All right, so I've heard of Toastmasters.
Yes.
Give me the Cliff
Microwave
Notes.
version?
Yeah.
It's awesome, Eric.
So what's the purpose? What do you do? Who's involved?
Toastmasters is an international club, 300,000 Toastmasters in over 100 countries. It's a leadership and communication club at the fraction of what you'd pay for maybe a Dale Carnegie and all these types of things.
Yep.
And so there are prepared speeches. There are several tracks you could take. Right now, it's moved from a paper or a hard copy manual to a digital platform, and that's caused the little people some anxiety who aren't really into those types of things. But you can there are 11 paths that you can choose. There's an engaging humor, there's strategic leadership, there's coaching, there's mentoring. There are all these different paths you can take. You can learn how to have an effective blog, how to have an effective podcast, how to persuasion skills, all these types of things. And to become a distinguished Toastmaster, that's the highest honor that you can achieve. There are all these projects you need to do. But the great thing about Toastmasters is it's flexible. Mm-hmm. You can meet at lunchtime, you can meet on the weekends, evenings, mornings. You just put in your zip code, you go to Toastmasters International, put in your zip code, you'll see all these Toastmaster clubs. So you can just visit one, and I always advise people to visit a couple because each club has its own personality.
Right.
But the meetings are structured. You'll have a Toastmaster of the day, you'll have a couple of prepared speeches, you'll have an impromptu speech category, because who's been at that time, who hasn't been at work that time where your boss is like, I need you to cover for me, I need you to do this, I need you to talk on this, and you've just been told. And so that part of the meeting teaches you how to speak quick on your toes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so the next two questions are more personal in nature to kind of lighten up the interview. What's the last purchase that you splurged on for yourself or your family?
The last purchase that I splurged on, and it was impulsive, was a Destiny weekend in North Carolina.
Awesome. What part?
Moravian Falls.
Where's that?
It's in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful.
Okay, so it's not on the coast. Okay, cool. And then what hobby or interest could you spend hours doing? You sound pretty busy.
Serving people.
Okay.
Serving people. I love volunteering.
What's that why inside of you? You talked about your semester at sea and this enlightenment, and you kind of decided that this is the way you wanted to go. So, for two-part question. First, were you always religious, or did that enlightenment happen when you went to the college bookstore and got the most easy to read, I think were your words, or something along those lines, easy to read Bible? And so, were you always religious? And then when you wake up in the morning, what's inside of you that keeps the healing room going?
I was not religious at all. I was one of those people that I was looking at my watch in church. I was gonna make a break for the door. I really feel as though God got a hold of my heart in college. Mm-hmm. One, by introducing me to a church where I wasn't bored, I wasn't looking at my watch, but I really would say, after I came back from semester at sea and picked up that Bible and went through the Bible for about a year, God became real. He really did become real for me. And I never had religion shoved down my throat. So I just kind of discovered him on my own, or he discovered me.
Right.
And because I wanted to work as a doctor, as a medical missionary, I love helping people. So I thought that was a natural path for me. When that didn't work out for me, it's really interesting how God will orchestrate our path. My landlady in grad school was a healing room volunteer, 84 years old, on fire for God, a firecracker. And I thought healing rooms was just a Fort Lauderdale, Florida thing. I had no idea it was a worldwide international ministry. I was looking for a church, and I visited Harvest Christian Fellowship. And on my way out, I saw a flyer for healing rooms. Mm-hmm. And I thought, whoa, wait, there's a healing rooms in Frederick. I have to volunteer. But prior to that, God again had been orchestrating my steps. I was in between blessings, AKA unemployed, for a season. And I thought, wow, okay, this is my opportunity to launch out into business. Maybe I'll do a nonprofit. Maybe I'll do this and that. And while I was at home, I stumbled across a minister that had a message, not a very charismatic guy. You would totally flip over him if you were kind of surfing through channels. But he had a message that was entitled, God Wants You Well. And I found out that God loves people, that I knew God loved people, but at times when bad things happen to people, when people become ill, you have no idea why those things happen. But I learned that ordinary Christians like you and me, partnered with God, could literally see lives change, see people healed, see people saved, see people delivered. I didn't need a clergy collar. I didn't need a seminary degree. All I needed was just to believe this.
Right.
And so healing rooms gave me that opportunity to exercise my faith in this area. We've seen cancer healed, backs healed, knees healed. We've seen amazing things. Ordinary people can come to healing rooms. It doesn't matter if you believe in God. He loves you and wants to help you. So our volunteers come from different backgrounds. They come from different denominations. We invite people to come in. It's almost like a clinic. This is a really cool story. One of our locations, the owner of that location, Mid-Atlantic Chiropractor, he actually got healed. He had a terrible...
What's his name?
Dr. Amir, do you know him?
I had Dr. Amir on here. Yeah, he's a firecracker.
Yes.
He's very interesting. He's an interesting guy.
He is, and his background.
Yeah.
So he was healed. The former director, Pastor Justin, prayed for him. His leg was healed. He's like, oh my God, use my practice.
Right.
And that's how our location was birthed there. But people can come in for whatever spiritual, emotional, physical healing, and God meets them. And we see amazing things happen.
So do you have to schedule your meeting at a healing room? Because it's 2 times a month.
Twice a month from 6 to 8. All that information's on our website. 2 locations, first and third Sunday of the month. People can walk in. There's no appointment. There's no cost. It's confidential. And we love to love on people.
So what's your role with the healing room?
Well, I am the director of the healing rooms. I am in charge of scheduling. We just wasn't recently, but we broke into doing workshops. We did a workshop for a church. I was expecting them to just give us 5 minutes to talk about healing rooms, and they gave us 2 hours. So we literally taught. We did a Q&A. We sold books on healing. We ministered. Many people got healed. We are also doing booths, so I also schedule those. We just had a booth at the Asian American Association on Saturday.
Okay.
That was pretty neat because the person who invited us to that, I met her at the In the Streets Festival, this annual block party that Frederick
If you're in Frederick, you know In the Streets.
Yes.
It's more of a block party. It's like the all of downtown Frederick's close to.
Exactly,
Yes.
that's true. And she was one of the vendors next to me. And I don't even know her religious affiliation, but God healed her shoulder. She was like, oh my gosh, this works. You need to come to the Asian Association of Frederick. So we were out for that from 8 to 3. We saw lots of people touched, lots of people healed. And so we do booths. That's something we're trying to break into because a lot of people don't know that their healing rooms is an international ministry. 4,000 healing rooms, over 100 countries. There's DC, Gettysburg, Hagerstown.
So how do you operate your operations? Are you a nonprofit?
We are a nonprofit.
Okay, awesome. Are you a 501c3?
I believe so, yes.
Are you the only one in Frederick?
We're the only one in Frederick.
Okay.
But depending on where you live, there is a Hagerstown one, there's Gettysburg, Pennsylvania one, there's DC one. Yeah, so if you go to the International Association for Healing Rooms and put in your zip code, you can find the closest healing rooms.
And are they always on Sundays, or is that just yours? Do you know?
Just ours.
Okay, so each healing room kind of runs their own little meeting place, meeting times, locations, stuff like that. Okay. And so with the kindness of Dr. Amir and Strong Tower Church, that's how you have the facilities to meet with people. And how many people typically come in a session or a healing time? What do you call it? Like, hey, I'm here to, is it like a healing time, like a session? Like what's it called? How many people come in like during your...
Our sessions. And so that's why this is so awesome what we're doing, because a lot of people, Eric, don't know we exist.
Right.
And we're trying everything to get the word out. One time, I think we had up to 13 people.
Okay.
And that was huge for us. It was like all hands on deck. I had to call in for reinforcements.
Right.
I think most of the time we have maybe 4 people come in. During the holiday season, things will go down as far as clients. So it's a well-kept, it's not well-kept, but it is a hidden thing right now.
And that we're trying to get the word out for.
Yes, and I'm really thankful for that.
And how long have you been with the healing room?
I've been with healing rooms for 4 years.
4, okay. Looking back, maybe what's something you would do different, or maybe a piece of advice somebody in another healing room location said, if you do this, this will happen, and it didn't happen. What's either like a piece of advice you can go back and change?
I would have to say to better utilize social media. Because of the business desire I have, I heard that 70% of businesses were growing by 70% by using social media for as little as 5 hours a week. And I thought, wow, that's not a lot to see that type of growth. But you really need a dedicated person, and a lot of people are not as keen to sign up for something like that. But if you have the resources or someone with a desire to really put your organization out there, I would really, really advise that. And to think outside the box. I think that the fact that we're going out into the community, we're doing booths. As I said, we did a workshop. We actually did a letter campaign that we really need to follow up with, where we sent 80 letters to all types of churches, Lutheran, Catholic, It didn't matter, just to say, hey, we're here, to send our flyer and business card to see if they had any questions. But the next step I wish we could have done is to follow up with a phone call and to just engage more.
So in the last 3 years, what's the choice that led you to where you are today? And this can be your professional world, this can be your personal world, this can be with the healing room. Like, what's a pivotal maybe moment in the last 3 years or enlightenment in the last 3 years?
I would say that Andrew Womack sermon that I told you about a few moments back about God wanting us to be well. And my life is, as soon as I heard that truth, it just really resonated with me again, that ordinary people can do this, but like 95% of the church doesn't even know because we don't hear it. How can you believe for something that you don't hear? Right. And I've always been so passionate. And this gift of gab I have really works well with evangelism. And I remember I was leading an outreach at another church, and sometimes you don't always feel like you fit in when you're really passionate about God, for instance. And I was doing my thing, and after hearing this teaching, I was praying for a guy with diabetes. And one of the volunteers there heard me commanding diabetes to go. And they thought, they were Christians, but they were like, is this legit? Right. And they went back and they studied and they went through it all. And I remember one moment I was feeling kind of down on myself, like, Lord, make me a normal Christian. But then I said, never mind, God, continue to use me. And I met them, and they came up to me and they were like, Aileen, I just wanted to tell you that my husband and I are just on fire for God. We're seeing amazing people, amazing things happen. People are getting healed, and we just want to thank you. And at that moment, I realized that this fire that God has placed in my heart, it's not only making a difference, but other people are being stirred up too. And just through those connections, different conferences I've gone to, I've just become even more bold. Whether I'm at the Walmart, I'm at the Jiffy Lube, it just doesn't matter. It's become a lifestyle, but I really feel like it started with that one truth, that, hey, God wants you to be well.
Awesome. All right, Aileen, so you are episode 188. Been doing this for about 4 years now. I love asking questions. I learn by asking questions. I learn about you, the healing room, everything. I want to flip the script. We've met 25 minutes ago. We've got a mutual friends. I want you to ask me a question.
Well, I would love to do what you're doing. You're a business guy. You're using social media. What are your 3 best tips or advice for someone who has an entrepreneurial spirit, who's trying to figure out what path they should take? Because I'm wondering how you get it all done, because our friend told me that you have your hands in a lot of different pots, and you're really, really successful at what you do. So how do you figure out what the path to take that's going to be successful? How do you stay alive? Because so many businesses after the first year fail.
Number one, you have to do what you're passionate about. So it can be helping people, healing people, and if you can wake up every day and feel good about what you're doing that day, and then when you put your head down at night, if you made a slight difference in somebody else's world, that just keeps you the fuel for the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And it can be, business-wise, it could be, helping somebody achieve a dream, a lifelong dream of whatever that is. I think that's number one. If you're doing it to chase money, okay, I've always kind of found, and going back over the 187 interviews, there's probably 30% of the people that aren't in that business anymore. And there's 30% that are really have exploded. And then there's the others that kind of stay in the middle there. But the ones that are still exploding are the ones that have a passion for getting the results that their clients, their friends, their family, whoever they're serving. You know, ultimately we're serving somebody. We're selling something, right? We're ultimately serving or selling something. You're either selling a product or service, a relationship, you're selling something. If you have a passion for that, number one, you can be successful. Number two, how do you sustain it? It's tough. It's extremely tough. You don't always see the growth and the results that you want, but if you're going for a larger goal, a larger purpose, then that sustainability becomes easier. And it also helps to have encouragement of others. You know, when we met, we've got a mutual friend, and you know, that's very encouraging for what she said about how I get stuff done. So a passion, consistency, show up every day. Like show up every day. Like you gotta have some sort of routine. So my wife and I, we went on a trip this past year with our kids and actually both in-laws. We went to Italy and did a cruise. And we had a great time, and it was nice to decompress and get away and not do something for 2 weeks. But when I got back, I missed that schedule. I missed waking up early. I missed writing every day. I missed the schedule. So once you have a schedule, and it doesn't have to be the entire day, but I've always found myself, if I can accomplish something before 8 or 9 a.m., like I've had success that day. No matter what the day throws at me, and I cuss, I'll try not to cuss on this interview because we're doing the healing rooms.
No, I'm enjoying this. Do you have like follow-up questions?
So if you can accomplish something by 8 or 9, like whatever the day throws at you when you go to work, okay? When you go to work and you get the conference calls and you get the fires you gotta put out, your day can be successful if you accomplish first thing in the morning. So you have follow-up?
Yeah. What about funding? That really holds a lot of people. Would you advise people to take a loan?
I personally, depends on how passionate you are about that project. I think funding, taking a loan is not the best way to go. I think there's ways to crowdsource, to ways to raise money, ways to, with social media now, like you can start a project literally on, you know, a couple $100. Get your proof of and I don't know where you're specifically what you're asking for, but get your proof of concept first. That's kind of what I did with Story Architect, which Aileen went through. Is, you know, I had 6 members go through, basically, for all intents and purposes, very low cost, free, whatever. But from that, then I had a proof of concept. Then you can roll it out. I think that's a better way to fund a project, is to figure out, hey, does my idea work first? If your idea works, people are going to follow you. It's better than going to take out a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 running up credit cards. Now, if you're selling a physical product, it's a little bit different strategy, but you need to find your market first. You need to make sure that market's there raising their hand saying yes, yes, yes. And what a lot of people do in marketing, if they're selling t-shirts or hats or perfume or whatever, is they'll go and actually market that t-shirt or hat or perfume first before they even fulfill an order, okay? Does that make sense? And that way your funding's up front. Your funding's not taking out loans.
Okay, and one last question. And I think that this can hold people back when they want to do something, sometimes feeling a sense of inadequacy, or I need a little bit more training, a little bit more schooling. And I believe in refining your gift, but you can get to too much refinement where you never launch out. What's your advice there?
I mean, that's analysis paralysis. Like you're never going to be the best the first time. Right. You know, the podcast, episode 1 to episode 188, to anything I've done, to writing my first newsletter, to writing my 78th newsletter, to teaching Story Architect first time, the second time, like everything you do, like you've got to have the confidence just to try it once. You're going to fail. You're going to suck. You are going to be really, really bad. You are. The first time, yeah, I could go way off topic here, but I'm going to, the first time you do anything, you're not going to be very good. You practice, you get better, you get better, you get more confident. So just do it the first time. You can do it to yourself, by yourself in a corner, or have one person, somebody you trust. That's why The first time I did Frederick Advice Givers, I had to do it with a buddy of mine, and we canceled it 3 times because I was so nervous. And then, finally, truth be told, I did a shot of tequila or vodka just to loosen up first because I was so nervous. But the second one was so much easier, third one so much easier, and it got better. So just do it.
Thank you so much.
So just do it. So final 2 questions.
Yes.
Oh, those are good questions, thank you.
Thank you.
What failure or loss has helped turn you into the person that you are?
My why for healing rooms, just in the last maybe 3 years, I've had 3 people in my family pass away, and 2 of them had stage 4 cancer, and they were such fighters. And we prayed and we saw some improvements, we saw tumors shrink, but then we saw them come back. Right. And even though they're no longer with me, we've heard and seen other people with cancer get healed. And so my driving force is that some people, not everyone's gonna get healed the very first time, but some will be. And they will be so grateful that myself and others that are part of this association, and you don't even have to be a part of this, you can do this on your own, are gonna be so glad that we didn't give up, because God never gives up on us. So that's one of the things that keeps me going, is that I really believe in this, and I've seen the results, and it's not me, it really isn't, it's Him all day long.
Awesome. So where do you see yourself in 3 years and then in 10 years?
In 3 years, I'll definitely be married with kids.
So are you married now?
I'm single, for everyone out there.
Are you looking, or do you have a boyfriend?
I don't have a boyfriend right now. I got out of a relationship a couple months ago, and I've just kind of taken my hands off. I'm just focusing on career and some of the things I want to do, getting my business together, working out that strategy. But I hope to be married and have children. I hope to have made a step in the right direction as far as my business, at least part-time. And in 10 years, definitely doing it full-time.
With your personality, I don't think you'll have any trouble finding a man. I don't think you'll have any trouble finding a man. All right, so tell our listeners, viewers, how they find out about the healing room, learn more, attend a meeting if they need help, if they need healing. How would we find it?
Thank you so much, Eric. Well, viewers, thank you so much for listening to my story today. It's a privilege and it's an honor to share about Healing Rooms. Healing Rooms is a phenomenal organization. As I shared, it's been around for a very long time. There are 4,000 healing rooms in over 100 countries. You don't have to believe in God. You don't have to go to church. It's not about that. God loves you so much, and He's still in the business of healing people. If you'd like to learn more about the Frederick Healing Rooms, please visit our website. We're at thehealingroomsoffrederick.com. We're open every first and third Sunday of the month. One at the Strong Tower Church at the first Sunday of the month, and then on the third Sunday we are open at Mid-Atlantic Chiropractor. I just want to share a quick testimony with you. I mentioned Saturday that we were at the Asian Association of Frederick. We saw many people touched and healed. One gentleman, we were packing up and we were getting ready to go, and I saw him dragging his leg, and I so wanted to pray with him, but he didn't see me when I waved at him. Well, God being so amazing, He ended up coming back to our area, and I just shared a little bit about Healing Rooms because, again, many people don't know about it. And he told me he's always in so much pain. Since the age of 9 years old, he had some misalignment in his spine. It was causing numbness in his leg and so forth. So we prayed for him. And again, this man has been experiencing pain since the age of 9 years old. When we asked him why, he wasn't really sure. He said, Aileen, back then we were just using file folders. I don't really know how this all began. Well, we prayed. He felt the love of God. He felt the peace of God, and his pain was taken away. We wanted to pray for his leg. His leg was still having numbness, but he's like, I have to go to work. And I said, you know what? Please come to visit the Healing Rooms. And I told him something else. I said, anybody who is a Christian, who believes in Jesus Christ, it's not just a few select people that can do this, but if you believe in Christ, if you believe in his word, you too have those hands to heal. So never feel as though that you can't do. And I told him, I said, if those symptoms should come knocking back, do the same thing we did, and you're gonna also see the same results. So I just wanna encourage anyone who's suffering physically, emotionally, or spiritually to know that God loves you so much. God's heart breaks when your heart breaks. Come out to healing rooms. We'd love to pray with you. We'd love to love on you. Thank you so much, Eric.
Aileen, thank you so much. Episode 188, Aileen Solomon with the Healing Rooms, and we are out.